Hi everyone, you're watching Forex. In this video I'm going to make technical analysis for the coming week. We will have a look at main pairs, important levels and possible entry points. So this is my trading plan for this coming week, and we are starting with euro dollar as usual, guys. So this is, let's go on to the daily chart so you can see the main picture. So you see the pair is actually on run up, and remember I warned you about it, right? Because it was looking like a bit of the pattern, diamond pattern, and so that's why even though I was still negative about euro and expecting it to go down because there was nothing good, let's say, economically and politically in the air, but this week they had ECB meeting and had some good news for euro, so it's actually made it to go high and up. So if you look on a bigger picture, so we're still kind of in this looking like a diamond pattern, and well, it also looks a little bit head and shoulders, right? So it's a bit of the looks like a head and a bit of the shoulder. So like diamond pattern, head and shoulders, like a little bit alike pattern, except on the diamond, the neck area is usually broken around where the head. So that's why. You see, guys, so I think it was all momentum, let's say, based on those good news from ECB with the plan of recovery of the economy, and so of course I would still presume that euro either this week might continue the way up as it was, just based on what we heard, right? And they still kind of haven't finished this, let's say, if it's in the pattern, didn't touch the one of the levels again on a bigger time frame, so kind of like plus minus, you see it's a little bit because you can't really be exact correct on all the time frames, but anyway, so it didn't kind of quite touch it but started to turn around. So that's what I'm saying. On one side, because of this news, euro still might continue the way up, but remember we still will have some news figures, economy figures, when there will be reports showing actually how eurozone was affected by coronavirus. So I don't think there will be good news. And then also we have Brexit, right? So there is no yet negotiations, positive or negative, between UK and eurozone. So that's why I still presume that this can turn around. And also, of course, after such a big movement, I would expect a correction, right? So that's why, of course, my first thought would be in a situation like this now as a correction. So that's why I would be looking for euro to sell. Anyway, I'll show you in a smaller chart, but look, if it will continue the way up and we'll try to go even higher, see we still have a little bit more of this top, right? So that one, and you see here, so and it might possibly go and get right to that top. So, but I would still keep it this way, looking a little bit more like a pattern, and so my expectation, like I'm saying, guys, maybe a little bit of consolidation, maybe running a little bit higher, and then just break it out and go down. So that would be the first level to possibly stay, maybe some consolidation, who knows, but anyway, so that's the previous, you see a bit of like a shoulder, and inside the pattern, so I would still see it going a little bit lower, around, let's say, these areas, and I'll show you a little bit better of the prices possibility. You see around 108.9, 109, so like if it might go down around this area, so maybe 110, so something like that, because in the, like I'm saying, still, even though it does look like a good a possibility for euro to recover, we still have this problem with Brexit, and if there will be, of course, good news, then euro will continue the way up. If not so good, then you will see it going down inside this pattern at least. So you see, guys, so that's the area, if a little bit more consolidation, so that this is my first possible entry point, and I will be looking right now, like I'm saying, a little bit more on the sell side. You see it's like still 80 pips, and if it will go down even further, if it will go up, so then we will see where it's going to start to consolidate. If it will reach the level a little bit higher, a little bit lower, but somewhere around here. So, but anyway, I'm looking into if there will be those news, like I'm saying, some not good economical news, no more anything from ECB and other kind of type of news, and more Brexit, not good news, then I would still see more towards going down. So that's like a little bit more information for you guys, because it did have a really good run and nobody expected it, believe me. And so that's why I think it's temporary for now. Gave a little bit boost, but still I see it selling at this point. Pound dollar, guys, once again, to remember I warned you that I see the same scenario what happened previously last year. This where I was sitting with the floating for a while when it just jumped without any good reason. There was some bit better news and this was a huge move. So you see exactly the same happened once again. So that's why I was just waiting and not buying or selling, because I also believe that's a little bit of impulse with all those good news with lockdown. England also came out from the lockdown, and so how far would it go? You see, it broke the tops, right, the previous two tops. I mean, okay, I'm still looking at this side and it's quite possible, yeah, see how far it moved. So I can expect the possibility of it to continue moving to this area, right? And that would be one of the good possible areas. We'll just move here and start to consolidate, and then either continue breaking up or turning around. But like I'm saying, if there will be news brought back with the Brexit and not good, then I would see a possible turnaround and of course a correction for that move. I would also expect, you see guys, technically I would expect a correction now. So if it will break this level and go down as a correction, right, and then who knows, if the good news, then it will continue the way up. So that would be more technically without these unusual uncertainties and what's happening right now. So that's why of course it might just go in more and more without have a good correction. So what I'm going to do on the smaller chart at this moment, guys, so this is where will be my selling pending order. So opening of the market, maybe a bit of more consolidation, we will see, and then I'll be looking at still selling point. So if it will continue the way up, guys, so then I was saying to you that's the area, next area, and for some consolidation. And once again I still would be looking for selling because it needs a correction. You see, it's moved the same like a euro dollar. It's like nearly 3 weeks been moving up, and it's quite a strong move already, and I think it's kind of time for have a little bit of correction. Also it quite also looks a little bit like a shoulder and a bit of a head now, so that's why I'm more concerned, I'm more certain that it should have a correction. So that's the area I will be looking, like I'm saying. But if it will go up, I'm not going to look to buy. I'll just look if it will go to this area, and I'll be looking still to place orders, sell. But once again, if Brexit news will be in the air, and what they're going to say, good or bad news, because if it's good, yes, it will go up. If not good, then it should turn around. So that's my view for pound dollar. That's the plan. Dollar yen, you see dollar yen moved up. I have removed all the other levels at this moment because it's remember that also the looking like a bit of head and shoulders, right, that area which looked like a diamond too previously, and so you see finally it had a move, and just exactly as the pattern. So now it started to get into the area. Remember, I have been in this area before, so now I'm just waiting for some consolidation in here, and possible either continue the way up if there will be more good news for dollar, or of course correction. I would expect a little bit more correction. And of course, guys, even with the non-farm payroll end up a very unusual high, and I also think it was quite temporary impulse, but still there is an uncertainty with China, right? So, and if the China news will be back, and again with sanctions or whatever, then of course yen will get a little bit stronger, and so then we will see dollar yen turning around. So that's the possible entry point, guys. So of course if it will go back down, this will be the next level. If it will move more, then somewhere in the middle. If it will go up, then it would be of course somewhere around next level, or maybe somewhere in the middle if it will slow down and have a bit of consolidation. But that's the first area I will be looking at. So Australian dollar also had a huge move, and there were no news with America and China, you can see, and the pair went really high, and of course once again expectation of correction, right? So quite the view of the pairs should start to have a correction, and also it's looking a little bit like a shoulder. So, and this looks like a really big head, and quite possible it might have turned around. That's what I expect now technically for a correction. So that's the level, guys. So here we go. I mean, it still might break it and continue the way to the next any levels, but the first thing I'm looking is this area. It's also You see a little bit also on the smaller chart, looks a little bit shoulder, this look a little bit head. So wherever it will start to consolidate around here a little bit, so I will be trying to look for sell and let's bit that area. So you see, well, maybe a little bit like this, maybe breaking from this level down. Who knows if it will have a little bit shoulder, or maybe it will actually go and have a nice correction, like I'm saying. But if there will be China news again, America and China trade war, then it will have, of course, deeper correction. Okay, so it needs a good correction. If not, it will go up. So this would be next level to wait for some consolidation. And of course, if it will continue even further, so that's, you see, that's the quite strong level here at the top. And if it will go even further, so you see that's the next area, so a next level. So in this part, it might have sit around here. But first, I'm looking at it as a possible head and shoulders. So now we're going to Euro Pound. Euro Pound also, I removed all the levels. I was sending some screenshots, by the way, so it was a small trade here, for example. But you see, it's created quite head and shoulders, right? So it was actually a nice little area here where you could have a look on a smaller time frame and a possibility to go for it. It's a bit of 1 hour chart there. So it's here, this area. And so you could have looked for a small you see, it was a really nice little channel. That's what I usually look for. But the movement happened a little bit too early, and when it started, you see, if you are at the screen, as I'm trying to explain to you, if you are at the screen at that time, so you see 7 o'clock, for me it's about 5 o'clock in the morning. And so that's why that time I'm still sleeping, and it's just started to consolidate. But see, if you are at that time, it's GMT, I think it's like 4 o'clock in the morning something. And so you see something like this, this is a good opportunity, you see, to place orders both directions. You see that way it's, well, a little bit 25 or even further, but still, and going down as a head and shoulders, you see it's a good drop. So what is it now? I mean, it's again, it's not bad position around here in the middle, right, between one level and another level. So I would presume a bit of consolidation and the possibility of going both directions. You see, it's enough space to go here, and it's quite a lot of space to go back up. And like I'm saying, if that's it, the market will come down with the news this week. It's quite easily Euro might go a little bit down, right, inside this channel. So it might break and continue the way down here. Then of course consolidation around this one might turn around, or who knows, and then break more, and at the same time of course it will go back up here again if it will stop around this area. So then possibility to look for some new channels and other entry points. Okay, so dollar Canadian. So here we go, guys. As I promised, it will close the gap. I was waiting for closing gap for so long, so it did close it finally. And now, of course, after such a big drop, I would expect a correction. Unfortunately, you see, on Friday there were good news not only for dollar but also for Canadian dollar. So that's why the pair didn't make huge movements. Okay, it's closed the gap, moved a little bit further, have a little bit of the level here, and of course I would expect now a correction, right? So we are in a big uptrend channel, and this is the, it's moving slowly up, but it's in a bit of a correction, right, on this channel. So of course it might continue still the way. So you see that's the next level, for example. It might still drop down there, but depends what the news is going to be for dollar or Canadian dollar, right? And some oil prices for Canadian dollar. There will be OPEC meeting this weekend, I believe so, and so that could be some impact. So we will have a look at the oil a little bit later. Let's just see what can be here. Like with dollar Canadian, like we just bigger picture is a bit better. So you see, for example, like I'm saying, it might have a little bit consolidation, and I would expect a possible correction. So if it will do so, then it will be the next level. Maybe it will give us like a bearish flag. We will see, but I presume it should be really quite deep correction. But at this moment, I mean, you see, the non-farm didn't really help, and so that's why that might still have a little bit more, have a little level around this area. So maybe it will break and stop somewhere around here, and then start to a bit of a recovery. But it needs a correction. It needs a good correction. So that's why I would be looking into that. But if the oil will still get a bit stronger, then of course the Canadian will get stronger, and then of course what kind of news are going to be for America. So we will see. What else? There are still protests in there, so, well, the more it will finish with protest, and it will be a bit better for dollar, of course. If it will continue a little bit more protest and nothing else going on, so then I will see it possibly continue the way down, and then waiting for some consolidation. But I will be looking possibly already, if it will go further down, I will be still looking into the possible buys, right, more than sells. Okay, so now we're going to gold, and gold got affected the most compared to, you see, the other pairs, like against dollar. They didn't drop too much, and with gold, I think it's also for everyone was unexpected, because we were looking into it a little bit more continue, because it's in a big uptrend channel. Yeah, we were expecting still to go a little bit further to the next level, but see, with all this news, Eurozone is a good news, non-farm payroll good news, oil recovery, so that's why gold just decided to drop and had a recovery. Remember, I've been telling you about the correction, right? So it needs a correction, and it's what it kind of did. I have created a little bit of the downtrend channel at this point, and well, possible new entry point to see where this one will start to consolidate. It will start to consolidate like underneath here, and with all the news, of course, now I would expect a possible turning around, okay, for gold, and back and inside this channel that started to be a little bit of like a downtrend channel now. So you see, like I'm saying once again, if it was like a bit of an impulse of what the news brought, but we still have uncertainty with China, we still have uncertainty with Brexit, and still protests in the US, so that's why I would still more would be towards that gold should again go up. Okay, so that's why I would be looking a little bit more into the buy. But of course, with all the other news, who knows if it will break this level. I would think it might have a really good move. I mean, there is, okay, still another a little bit of the previous bottom, this one. It might just have like, you know, fool everyone, let's say, just break down here and then turn around and started to pick up again. So that's why I would still look at this area. If it will break that, then I would expect a possible even further correction. But if you look also at this bigger time frame, like I'm trying to show you here, also looks a bit of a head and shoulders, right? You see, this looks like a bit of a shoulder, and that's the head. So that's why I would still look towards maybe a little bit consolidation, and then still going back up, and give us at least another let's say another shoulder, maybe to this area, right back. And if it will not break it again, and depends what the news is going to be, then maybe it will decide to just start to fall a bit more, and until whatever's next news are going to be. So that's the view. My first possible entry point would be is around this area, if it will start to have a consolidation, and here you see between these two, around this level, anyways, around this level. And who knows, like I'm saying, there could be gaps. Of course, if the opening of the market, what is happening during the weekend, like I'm saying, the protests in America, who knows, maybe Trump will say something about China. If nothing unexpected, then consolidation in here, and as a possible still reaction after news, it might still continue way down, or I would still expect, I would look into the possible return to continue the way up more. Okay, so now let's have a look at pound yen. And also it's kind of finished the move, right? Remember, we had a bullish flag, very strong. It was a wedge and the flag at the same time. So well, let's see, you see it's about 800 pips up, and well, I mean, if you'll go from here, it would be about the same, but right now it's okay, it's about 700, so nearly about 800 pips also, right? So in here, once again, of course, the best for me would be if it actually would just jump in here and start to consolidate here, then I would be more towards a possible correction. But it's decided to be underneath this level. I mean, it also might say it doesn't want to go any further, and it just might start to turn around here. You see, with all this news for pound and euro, it's pushed it up. But I think there will be some news for yen. And like I'm saying, if there will be some more between US and China, then yen might get a bit stronger, and then pound might finally turn around. So it's been quite runner at this moment. I mean, I wouldn't jump into, you see, like I don't like to jump into the sales or buys right at the tops or bottoms, because you see it can be fooling and have a little bit of correction, might continue the way up. So that's why, to be honest guys, I would rather to see here a little bit more of consolidation, because right now it's just nothing. It just, you see, it's had a little bit of turn and this is it. So I would rather to see, unless there is something will be unexpected in the news, then I would just see this a little bit jump further to the next level and started to consolidate around here somewhere. So either that level above it, or maybe, who knows, a little bit higher to the next level. So that's how I would just see it a little bit that way. So you see, pretty much it did exactly what was expected. Technically it was, and fundamentally it's also helped to go. And so of course right now, like, I will not look to buy, I would just look into sales more, guys. So if I will be placing my orders, then I would be mostly looking into place the pending sell orders. So that's why. But I would rather still to see it a little bit, just a little bit to go up, or maybe just consolidate a little bit underneath this level, and place my level, and then see it turn around and go down. You see, because what it can do is, it just in this downtrend channel, of course, like I'm saying, we still have uncertainty with Brexit, but the danger, what I'm trying to tell you, with pound at this moment, if there will be good news that UK and the EU got through a little bit with some negotiations, good negotiations, then it might have just jump and then just sit in this area. You see, like with the other other pairs, like pound dollar is also like it might jump and then just not break down anymore and just be in this area, because you see, we've seen pound being on its bottom, so the quite usual areas, you see, like we're here and it's a bit higher, so we had one bottom, another bottom, and there's another bottom, so but it likes to be higher. So that's why it's a bit dangerous. If you do look sell and it jumps, it might not come back here, and for many years, who knows where else is going to happen, or if of course UK will pick up more and it will go more and more to those highs the previous long years before it was. So that's why a bit kind of danger is here to sell, right? So that's why you would need to see where it's going to go next. So that's a kind of little bit view. I still look into sales, but really need a close look and following what they saying about Brexit. So because, like I'm saying, if there is no news about it, then technically speaking, it will have a bit of consolidation, and it's more towards have a correction. Okay, so just technically, but news can change the picture. And US crude oil, guys, so just as I was telling you, if there wouldn't be those crazy swaps, I would just buy it and hold it. You see, it started to fill in the gap, guys. So that's what I've been telling you. If you don't have huge swaps, I see a good opportunity just to buy and sit on it. So there will be meeting this week. So of course, after that, depends. Yeah, it might have a gap again, might jump up or maybe jump down. I still look into a bit of a correction. So I see a few scenarios. I still would rather to see it a little bit of correction, and then I would be looking to get into the buys. But if it will close the gap, so if the good news, then I would just probably leave it and will not go for any trades, because now that's it, the opportunity is gone, and I still can't place my pending orders. So this broker, I can't place pending orders. I can't place buy pending or sell pending or anything. So that's why it has to be only like live to try to get in. And if, like I'm saying, if there's good news, it might just close the gap. Of course, from here it might have a bit of a correction, and from here, and then we will see what to do. But right now, you see, it's like right in the middle of the gap, and it's more looking to try to close it. So unless, like I'm saying, if it will not close, so my view is, if it will not close the gap at this point, and there will be not very good news this weekend, and it will fall, I will look into the buy, okay, because I will still rely and expect it to close that gap sometime maybe later in summer, right, when they will open more countries and the airplanes will start to fly more. So that's my view, guys. That's what I will be looking for this week. And if you like the video, of course, don't forget to subscribe, like, sign up to my Telegram group. I have John FX, and happy trading. I see you next week. Bye everyone.